No, but I think the other thing is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I said this a few months ago, you cannot succeed at a football club nowadays without having an incredible amount of good support, recruitment people, great knowledge around you. He's obviously got great knowledge around him in terms of Mick Phelan and some of his coaching staff. He's got Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill on the board. But I think in terms of recruitment and getting players, it's an art form. You are swimming with the sharks, and you need to be the sort of making sure that you've got people in there who can swim with them. And I think Manchester United in these last few years have just dropped a little bit in terms of where they've been in recruitment. And for me, it's a big job in this next few months to ensure that he gets the players he wants so they can challenge for the title next season against the likes of Liverpool and City.
A lot of Sir Alex Ferguson's players have gone into management, some with more success than others. But why do you think that is? What is it about him or the culture at the club that made that happen?
I think, to be fair, if you look at the Liverpool successful team of the 70s and 80s, they all went into either coaching or media. And I think when you have a successful team squad over a period of 20 years, then they're going to be either prominent in the media or prominent in coaching, because people will believe in the sort of that. No, they've got that spirit in them that they want to succeed, they want to do well.
You're also in demand. People want,
and people want to listen to what they've got to say sometimes.
Sometimes.
I think. No, I think that's generally it. And when people say, "Oh, how come there's so many Liverpool players in the media over the last 20 years?" It's because they've produced a lot of great performances over many years and they became very credible. I think the same with Manchester United players under Sir Alex Ferguson, that they're going to be either going to become good coaches or they're going to want to go into the media and still remain prominent in the game, because they love football as well. That's the main thing. You want to stay in football when you've been part of football. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there is no doubt he was never cut out for punditry, never wanted to do punditry. Same with Michael Carrick, actually. They're desperate to be the best coach that they can be.
Did you spot that as a player? I mean, I think you sat next to him, Solskjaer, for a lot of his time there. Did you think manager?
Yeah, I did. I sat next to him and thought coach, and thinking like a coach. You never know whether he's going to be a manager or whether he's going to be a coach at that time, but he always was thinking about the game, about where the sort of advantages were. He always talked about watching the game off the bench very intently, so he knew where the spaces were when he came off the bench. So you're always thinking about the game. When you've got someone who's thinking about the game all the time in quite a deep way, then their mindset is such that they want to then put those things into practice on the training pitch. And particularly when he finished playing football, I obviously was still at United, and Ole became a coach at the club in the reserve team and obviously the youth teams. He actually did sometimes work with the first team players who were injured and coming back, and you could see he wanted to talk. I always remember him saying to me he wanted to play a system 4-2-2-2. I thought, it sounds like a sort of posh 4-4-2, that really, in effect. But actually, when you see the sort of the wide players now coming into real narrow pockets and the front two just being up there, you can see that system's developed in the game over the last 7 or 8 years. And that's the first time I'd ever heard anybody say that, and this was probably 10-12 years ago before people started playing it. And at the time, him and Rennie Meulenstein were very
Ali?
Yeah, they were pally, but they also did a lot of work together with the reserves. They also did a lot of work together with the first team. They always were in sort of the room together, jotting things down, had a tactics board around them. And I think when you've got that mindset, you deserve to be on the training pitch. That's where you should be, and he belongs there. And he's poured his life into it over his last 10 years. He's better for the experience at Cardiff. He's more likely to become a success in the future by his experience at Cardiff than not having it, because he's seen how low you can get in the game and how desperate it can be when people turn on you. I mean, I remember being in the media and people sort of saying, "Oh, he's a waste of time, he's no good, look at him, get back to Norway," all that sort of, yeah, people didn't say that, but that's the language, the tone. We've seen it before with managers. And the reality of it is he's come back into opportunity, and he's taken the opportunity, and he deserves it, because I don't think that when you're sacked from a club, that should necessarily mean it's the end of your coaching career. In fact, you're probably more employable having been sacked in football than you are if you're not. You know what I mean? You need to have gone through that, and I think that's what Ole, to be fair, has done.
Lastly then, how hard is it for a Sir Alex Ferguson player in management? Because we've seen lots of guys go in and do pretty well. And maybe this will happen to Solskjaer, but however well you do, you're always judged against maybe the greatest manager ever. So you can do well and still be maybe judged fairly negatively.
No one's going to ever compete with Sir Alex Ferguson. It's impossible.
But do you feel like you are, because you're one of Fergie's players?
I never thought that when I went into coaching with England or with Valencia for that short period. I never thought I wanted to be Sir Alex Ferguson. I'm not sure any of the others did. I mean, look, there's no doubt over the last 20 years that everybody's talked about which player of Sir Alex Ferguson's era would take over from Sir Alex Ferguson. Going back to sort of Brian Robson and to Mark Hughes, Steve Bruce, Paul Ince, Roy Keane, all these players were mentioned, and Ryan Giggs obviously mentioned recently, and I think that the one that you probably wouldn't have put Ollie in the top 10 of people out of those to actually take over and sort of be the first to really get the permanent job and the first chance. And Ollie's got it through timing, through a little bit of good luck, through his hard work and his endeavour, through his actual credibility at the club and his personality, the way in which he's loved by everybody. And United needed somebody at that time that was able to come in and sort of, if you like, just bring everybody together without fail. There isn't anybody at Manchester United, not one single person will ever say a bad word about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There'll be people there who'll think, oh, Gary Neville was a bit moany, a bit narky in his day.
No way.
No, but there'll be people there, the players, to be fair, some of the other players that you talk about, we all had egos, but some of the players you can imagine would get on some of the maybe staff's nerves, even though we all got on well together and the club was great. There isn't one person will ever say one negative or bad thing, if anything other than positive, about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was loved and is loved. And that's by every player that's finished as well. So every bit of support that he's going to get the support of every single ex-player over the next 3 years, every single current player. And those current players have got a job to do to keep playing, because if they do down tools on him, they'll have nowhere to go. Downing tools on Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho's one of the greatest managers along with Pep Guardiola of the last 20 years. And Jose Mourinho, people don't feel sorry for him. People don't show that great deal of sympathy for him, which is wrong in some ways, because I think he deserves some at the end at United, even though people say he won't. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the fans won't turn on him. They won't turn, and the players will have to perform under him and give their all. And if they give their all and it doesn't quite work out, that's fine. But if they do down tools, or if they do start not playing to the best ability, or to the work ethic that they have done previously, then they'll have a problem, because the fans will stick with Ole. There's no doubt about that.